Hello, my name is Matt Ode. I am 29 years old from Cleveland, Ohio, and I am a stage 3C testicular cancer survivor. At the age of 24, I was diagnosed with stage 3 testicular cancer, where the doctors found an 11-centimeter tumor in my small intestine. By the age of 25, I was in a coma for over 2 weeks, in the ICU for over 40 days, had complete kidney and liver failure, dropped down from a 185-pound personal trainer to 110 pounds in less than 8 months, and had to completely relearn to live my life and all over again. Now, today, 4 years later, I'm a keynote motivational speaker. I'm a coach for other cancer survivors, and I'm here to help people find their purpose in life and become the best version of themselves.
I can't even follow that introduction. But I do want to ask you the normal question that I start out asking everybody before I get backwards into this introduction.
Yeah.
What do you think people's first impression of you is?
First impression of me, when they first meet me, I would say the first impression is they see me as genuine, authentic. I think I'm not the type of person that's just gonna kind of BS people. I'm very kind and very genuine, but I'm also going to just kind of tell you how it is too. So not in a mean way, but just being very genuine too.
But it's very authentic, like you said. And I think there's value in that. And I think that
Mhm.
people respect that. And
100%.
yeah, and
Yes.
so I
So
think,
like I think with authenticity, like, people nowadays, especially with social media, especially with platforms, they can read right through anybody who is lying to them or fluffing things or trying to, whether it's like selling people something. The more authentic you are, the more people will know, like, and trust you. And then when you go to help them, you can make a bigger impact in their lives. So I've always been that type of person that's like authenticity first, and just being a genuine and kind person, being empathetic to people, I think is the biggest thing.
yes, absolutely. And correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you feel that the more authentic and yourself and honest with others you are, the longer your friendships last?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And you know what? You want to know what else it does? The shorter some of your friendships last too. I'll be completely transparent. The second you go for your dreams, the second you do something bigger than yourself, you're either gonna have friends who support you or friends who are jealous and they try to bring you right back down to where they were. And that's not authentic. That is being, selfish, and it's not caring about one another. So that's kind of what I found.
Yes, and it's kind of similar to how I feel about these interviews. I I notice that as a human being, we tend to try to bring other people down, whether it is verbally or just in our head. That first impression slash judgment that we make about someone, catch how many times it isn't the most positive thing you can think about a person. And it's not that we're mean or vindictive or vicious, it's just that we're naturally competitive. And I think that if we take a minute and really recognize how we're treating someone else, even in our own mind, how we treat them once it comes out of our mouth will change too.
100%. The one thing I've learned over life, and I'm starting to learn really, is it's that classic saying we were taught when we were a kid: don't judge a book by its cover. But it's so true that, like, my first impression of somebody might not be that last impression. I know you want to have a good impression on people, and that's a good thing to do, but I'm not going to judge somebody by the first 10 seconds that I see them. I'm going to get to know them a little bit more. I'm going to get to see who they are. And yeah, after a couple of days, you'll start to get a feel for somebody, but I'm not just because the way somebody looks or the way somebody might kind of, act in the very beginning of knowing them doesn't mean that's the type of person that they're going to be the rest of their life, or the type of person that them. So yeah, I'm not quick to judge people, for good or for bad. I think it's a very important trait to have.
Getting to know people is part of the process and fun of life, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
So let's talk a little bit about the road leading up to the event you described in your intro. What were you
Mhm.
doing before your diagnosis?
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I've always into sports. Like my dad, very into sports, so he got me into pretty much everything. I was in football at one time, I was in basketball, baseball. And throughout all of high school, I ran cross country and track. So I was really fit then. Then I got to college, I ran cross country and track there my freshman year, and then I said, okay, I don't want to look, 130 pounds anymore. Even though I was in great shape, I wanted to gain muscle, I wanted to look better, I wanted to feel better. So I stopped running so much and I started doing more lifting. And I lifted all throughout college. And, once I graduated, I was like, okay, I want to still continue with the health and fitness aspect. So I became a personal trainer. I had a ton of clients, 30, 40, 50 clients. And, then all of a sudden, my life turned around at 24 where I was, diagnosed with cancer, lost all of the progress I made over, 8 years of, lifting, taking care of my body, working out, doing all these activities. And, I had to really, fight for my life and learn to relive my entire life all over again. So that's kind of what led up to it.
So how did you get diagnosed? Let's talk about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, absolutely. So what happened was, I had actually just started dating my girlfriend at the time, by the way. We were only a month in and we were doing all these summer activities and enjoying ourselves, hiking, kayaking, things like that. And all of a sudden I started noticing these minor back pains. And as the summer progressed, you're 24 years old, you think you're invincible. I pretty much just let it go. Said, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll be absolutely fine. It got worse and worse and worse. And then one night I ended up waking up and I ended up puking up blood. I got rushed to the emergency room. They found out that I had lost 2/3 of the blood circulating in my body, which is actually equivalent to being shot with a gun. So they put me into an emergency surgery to figure out what was causing the bleeding. They thought it was an ulcer. So the next day I come out of the surgery. I'm eating cereal. It's just me and my parents. I'm thinking it's over. And then the doctor walks in. And the second I saw his eyes, he had this blank stare in his eyes. And I just knew something was dead wrong. So he walks over to me. He sits down. He grabs my hand and he goes, Matt, we found an 11-centimeter tumor in your small intestine. We believe it is cancerous, and we have to rush you to the main campus of the Cleveland Clinic immediately, which is, thank goodness, one of the top hospitals in the entire country. So that's how I got diagnosed.
I have
Yeah, it's a whirlwind, I'll tell you that.
so back pain to an you said 11-centimeter tumor in your small intestine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And you said that your diagnosis was testicular cancer.
It was. So they didn't know at the time. So they rushed me to the Cleveland Clinic, did about 50 different tests on me to figure out what type of cancer it was. And eventually they came to the conclusion that it was the highest stage of testicular cancer. So, it was really challenging at the time. I'll say that. But you know what? Like a really good piece of advice for your audience that's listening right now. Um, we're all going to get unexpected, unfair, uncertain news in our life. And we can't control that. But what we can control is our thought process. How do we view the setbacks? How do we view the challenges of our life? And my favorite saying is everything in life happens for you, not to you. If you start looking at life and saying, why is this happening to me? You start making excuses. You start blaming other people. You start having a pity party for yourself. And guess what? It gets you absolutely nowhere. But the second that you say, how is this happening for me? You can learn from it. You can grow from it. And more importantly, you can use it to help other people as well. And I said, you know what? Yes, I'm going to have a lot of ups and downs. Yes, this is going to be a battle, but I cannot control the fact that I have cancer right now. So how am I going to learn from this experience? How am I going to grow from it? And then eventually one day, maybe I'll be able to help others, which is, thank goodness, now I'm able to do so.
What a positive attitude. And what a great way to repurpose and reprocess the information that you're given. And I think that's quite a gift, not only for yourself, but what you can, like you said, give other people. And thank you for sharing it with me today.
Oh, of course.
I,
Absolutely.
I will take
Thank
that
you.
with me forward.
Please do so. Yeah.
I no, I love it. I love things like that. And I just love hearing the positivity and the genuine desire to help others, especially after things that you've been through that could literally knock and tear you down. And to use it as a platform is inspirational, motivational, and amazing. Um, I want to back up just for a second to your description. I have a question. People
Yeah.
may have the same question, but I have a question. From a tumor in your small intestine, what is it that has them link it to testicular cancer? What makes it testicular cancer?
But they had to figure out how did the tumor originate? Where did it originate from? And when they can find out where it originated from, that's when they can say, okay, this is the type of cancer it was. And they found out by doing an ultrasound and a bunch of other tests, blood work, things like that. And that's where they're like, okay, it originated in testicle, and the tumor and whatever else the cancer spread to not just my intestine, but all across my body too, my lymph nodes, things like that. So I had cancer everywhere except for my brain, thank goodness, but like all over my lungs, all over, the rest of my body. And, it was a long journey for sure. It was not an easy journey. I mean, I went through 5 rounds of chemotherapy the second they found out, which took about 3 months. And then the real complications, like I was telling you in my story, when they did a 10 and a half hour surgery to remove my tumor, and they had to remove what's called my vena cava as well, which is a central vein that goes from the bottom of your upper body to your heart, because the tumor was wrapped around it, caused me to go into massive swelling. So I dropped 40 pounds through chemo. So I was 140 pounds. And I had gained 60 pounds during that surgery because of all the swelling that occurred in my stomach, which then eventually caused me to go into what's called compartment syndrome. And that is where your body completely shuts down, your kidney and your livers fail. And my body just went into a 2-week non-induced coma. And, I had a lot of complications in the 53 straight days. I had to stay in the hospital for 53 straight days. I was in the ICU for over 40 days. I ended up having 5 surgeries. One of the surgeries I had what's called an open wound surgery, where they couldn't close my skin back up. So they had to leave a football-sized mesh over my stomach, it took an entire year to heal. And, in the process, I went into cardiac arrest where they do 8 minutes of CPR on me. I dropped down, like I said, to 110 pounds, had to completely learn to walk again. Many, many more complications. But at the end of the day, I look back at this scenario, I look back at these challenges as the bigger the adversity you can overcome, the greater the opportunity, the bigger the impact you can have on this world. And I'm not saying you have to go through cancer, but I'm just saying for anybody out there who's struggling financially, who's struggling in their relationship, who might be struggling with COVID, who might be struggling with their health, just know that this is setting you up for something so much bigger in your life. As long as you can look at it as a lesson, as long as you can learn from it, as long as you can grow from it. But if you keep blaming other people, having excuses, and having a pity party with yourself, you're never going to get to where you need to be in your life. And a lot of it came down to my faith too. I share my faith with a lot of people because, God did a lot of things in my life to really get me to where I am today as well. So between my support, my health background, my faith, I wouldn't be here today for sure. And the nurses and doctors who saved my life.
You're a miracle.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, really, you are a miracle. I mean, what a story, what all the things you've been through and all the things your body said, I'm done with. And to come through all of that the way you are is incredible. You said something about looking at life's events as lessons. There was an interview that I did quite almost a year ago, and the person said, I don't look at L's as losses. I look at them as lessons.
Yeah.
And it popped right into my head when you said that. And that was one of the most profound things I had heard at the time. And then you've just dropped so much knowledge on me this morning that I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I mean, we're doing this early in the morning Pacific Coast time, but I'm starting the beginning of my day, and I am so much more empowered to go through my day now. And I didn't know how this day was going to go, and I couldn't have started it any better.
Thank you. I'm so happy this could help kind of set your week up for a little momentum. And
it sounds really selfish, but I mean that wasn't the whole point of me saying that.
I love that. That makes my day. It makes my day when here's a good acronym: HOPE. Help one person every day. You can help one person every day. I promise you're going to set yourself up for success. Just one person. Obviously, you want to help more, but if you can just help one person every day, hope, give them courage, give them some type of sense of direction in their life, you are on the path to success. I promise you.
And that help doesn't have to be something major. It could be
Hmm.
something super simple, like
Yep.
holding the door open for them.
Hmm.
Just anything that lets people know there's still that like smile in humanity and that people
Hmm.
are here for one another. So tell me before I have a couple more questions for you, but tell me how you're doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I'm doing much better. And like I said, my faith, my support, my health and fitness background of staying consistent and actually putting in the work. This is this is how I got to where I am today. I kept the promises I made to myself. When I say I'm going to do something, I actually go out and do it. When I say I'm going to go for a walk today, when I say I'm going to eat healthy, when I say I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, reach out to this person or do something in my business or, reach out to this coordinator to get a speaking opportunity. When I say I'm going to do something, I actually go out and do it. So many times we say, oh, we'll do this. And then next thing you know, a day goes by, a week goes by, and we never get it done. You want to know why so many people have mental health issues? They have depression, they have anxiety. It's because they put so much on their plate and they get nothing done. Do one little thing every day to get yourself to where you need to be.
Um, what is something that would surprise people to know about you?
Oh man. Oh, you put me on the spot here. I don't. I don't
You've been
know.
on the spot the whole time. This is an
I
interview.
know, right? Now I got to figure out this. This is a good question there. So I guess for me, something that people would know is I just always felt like maybe I was that outsider for a little bit. Like not outsider. Like I still have me. I love all my friends, but it just I never felt like I was like a part of it. And I think that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing because then you have something really unique that you know about yourself and you're not in it to just please other people. You're going to do it for yourself and know that you have a mission to really make an impact in the world.
I get that. And I think
Mhm.
that a lot of people out there, I think we kind of go about and do things. But so I think it would be surprising to know that especially with your confidence and your strength that you exude, that it wasn't
Hmm.
always there, right? That you had to be okay within you.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing is I've always like, yeah, for a lot of the time, for most of the time, like a couple of my, friends group I was very shy too. Cause I always felt like whatever I wanted to say like wasn't good enough or things like that. So I have my own self doubt. That's something people can know about me. I have a lot of self doubt that I'm still working through as well. And we all do. And I think that's something that the quicker you can recognize it, is the quicker you can make that change.
So before I ask you our last question to close out our conversation, is there anything else that you want to share?
Yeah, I would say the very last thing that I would share to somebody right now, because of so much uncertainty and struggle right now, is I want you to know that you are enough in the moment right now. So many times we are so freaking hard on ourselves, including me. This is why I'm doing it. The only reason I'm sharing this is because I'm feeling this way too. We are so hard on ourselves, and all it does is it creates false stories, false scenarios, unnecessary stress, unnecessary anger, so much mental health issues because we want to get to a certain destination so quickly and we're not patient enough to get there. Just know you are enough in this moment. Be proud of where you're at, but just never satisfied. So that's all I would say is, I just like giving motivational stuff. So I hope that can help your audience.
I love it. I'll be texting you
Thanks.
every morning for my motivational
I
quote.
post a quote. I do post a quote every single day. So
I
pay
love that.
attention. I got it.
I love that. I love it.
Thanks.
So we could talk about that kind of stuff forever. So, first, let me say thank you for your time today. And I'm so glad that you're doing well. And how
Thank you.
long have you been cancer free now?
Officially, oh wow, today might actually be the day, or a couple days ago was. I probably should have posted some. Yeah, so now I'm pretty much, yeah, like technically I finished my chemo on, I believe it was November 21st of 2016. So that would have been 4 years ago. And then my surgery to like officially be cancer free. So I'm close to 4 years, pretty much. So yeah,
Congratulations. That's great.
thank you.
Great.
Thanks.
Well, last but not least, as you're walking around your town in Ohio or giving one of your motivational talks, If you have the opportunity to hold up a sign that says one thing about you, what would you want people to know?
Happiness over everything is probably what I would say. You know, what that means really is we have to be searching for happiness in our life. At the end of the day, that's what we ultimately want. We want happiness. We want joy. We want fulfillment. And a lot of times we think the material thing is going to bring that happiness, but there's way more to it than that. So happiness over everything.